92.5.
I'm going to switch gears. You know, your tour started out, you were over in Europe. And, I'm really curious because it's why country's really just starting to break over in Europe. Did you have any outstanding moments over the pond?
There's been a lot over there. What's awesome is the majority or a lot of the people that come to those shows are military folks that are stationed in other places. So getting to go see them is like a mini USO tour. So that part's really cool. Seeing the way people respond to the music is always interesting too, because it's always a different response. Some like in Australia, God Almighty, them people they're nuts.
They're really into it.
Yeah, they party, man. In Europe, you find that a lot of people are really paying attention. And it's a more like they soak in the music. They'll party with you, and they'll get down, but they're really really learning. Sadly, we were there when the Paris attacks happened.
Oh my gosh.
We were in Munich, Germany.
Oh man.
And they started closing down all the routes that we were like running through on the tour, and they were shutting down airports and things. So we came on back to the house. Plus, it's hard to play a rock show when things like that are going on. And it's just and it's a terrible place to be in because, we're going to take blowback from it. People are going to be mad at us for not coming. And it's like,
you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, you're between a rock and a hard place.
So interesting, though. So you know how Americans handled 9/11 and a situation like that. How is it in Europe? Was it different? Did you see that it? Like sometimes we feel like Europeans are almost from another planet, right? Because they're so different from us. But do they handle things the same well?
We had one of the guys that was driving one of our buses. There was a driver that worked for the same bus company that was actually killed in the Paris attacks.
Oh wow!
A bunch of our different guys on our crew, new crew members of that band, and my manager knew the merch guy. So, it was crazy how small the world is, but it shook everybody up. It was definitely, it was it just shocked everybody. I think we were still in shock when we got back to the house. So
it must have felt good to be home when you finally got home.
Yeah. Because, man, here in the States, too, when 9/11 happened, you got Toby Keith and Alan Jackson releasing songs about get your guns, let's go, you know what I mean?
Right.
Over there, they don't have guns. It's like,
Right. And it's interesting, too, because America is huge, right? And it's spacious. And so even though there's an attack in New York, people in California, they're so far removed for it. But in Europe, everything is so jammed together. It affects everyone.
Oh, it does for sure. It was a very, very sad day. That's probably the understatement of the century. But
well, then get back on the tour in the States. And, my feeling is, there's got to be, and I'm again sort of switching gears here, too. It must have been good to do your first show back here in the States, being on your, being close to home.
For sure. It's always different being at home. You know what I mean? It's over here. It's home.
Well, now you said Australia, they really party crazy.
Oh yeah, that was nuts. We went over and played there, and I was terrified because service guys and gals, I don't know how y'all do it. We took off, and I found out we was gonna be 15 hours over water. I don't like water. I had like 3 fears in life. Mainly, it was like snakes, sharks, and commitment. And like the commitment thing, I'm over. I'm married, and she helped me out with that. But the snakes and sharks are still very much alive.
And sometimes they take planes.
Oh my God, yeah. That Jaws, that joker wasn't scared of a boat.
Snakes on a plane?
Yeah, snakes on Samuel
You're
L.
never going to
Jackson.
fly again now, Fred.
Yeah.
Never.
Oh, but I was terrified. But we got up for like the first 3 hours. I was like watching on the map, and we took off in California,
Yeah.
and we're over land for like 30 seconds, and then it's like water. Man, all I could think were like scenes from Jaws, like replayed in my mind. And they had that movie In the Heart of the Sea about Moby Dick.
It just got worse for you. It just kept getting worse.
And my dumbass watched it. It was like, let's try this. That was so stupid.
Australia goes crazy. In the States, what's the craziest crowd you've ever played in front of?
Oh, gosh.
The answer's Philadelphia.
Yeah, Philly. Y'all do get crazy.
Hey, we do
PA,
get crazy,
man. PA gets a little nuts. I will say some of the craziest ones were back when we were doing clubs.
Right.
Really?
You know, and I drank back then, and it was just like kind of when you're feeding back and forth off people, it just sometimes things get a little out of hand. I remember one night we got done playing, they were closing the bar, and I went out and I had a trailer that we were dragging behind a Ford Excursion. I slept in the back hatch of that thing on 2 folded up futon mattresses. It was great.
At least you had the mattresses.
But yeah, the bar owner comes outside, and I'm sitting on top of my trailer still playing songs. The parking lot's full of people.
Oh my gosh.
And he's like, "Hey, B, the cops are coming." And I was like, "Cool." And then he came back out 10 minutes later. He was like, "Man, like, seriously, the cops are coming." I was like, "You said that 10 minutes ago." And then blue lights pulled in. I was like, "Well, everybody, I'm going to jail." And like, literally, my security guy, PJ, he was like, "B, are you really going to go to, let's don't go to jail. Please
Just
don't
wrap
go to
it
jail."
up. Just wrap it
I've
up.
been
right?
before. You know? Let's go back, pay my bill. That's right.
Did you ever have a Blues Brothers moment, like people like throwing bottles and that type of thing?
Oh man, I'm telling you, people have. There's a bad habit. Folks have bad habits of throwing stuff on stage.
I'm sure you've seen all kinds of stuff on your stage.
Oh,
Yeah, didn't recently somebody throw pennies at you and it ended up on your hand?
Oh,
Isn't that a story
man.
that's getting around right now?
Oh,
And you're in
yeah,
all
it
sorts
got-
of. You're
that
in the
story-
doghouse, right?
That story made it all the way to the bus with my wife. Look, so what happened was I'm down in the front shaking hands, right, and I go to lift my hand up, and on this bracelet here, see where it's open on the bottom?
Yeah.
They hooked.
So now they're dangling.
And when I went to stand up, I was like, "What's up, everybody?"
That's a ringer.
Oh.
You know what I mean? And it was just there. And I mean,
What
there was
color?
nothing I
we
could
want to
do
get the full
about it.
visual, right? So
What
what color?
It's like bright pink, man. It's like, come on. And then my wife was like, and then you went right back down there. And, well, apparently the story I didn't know.
Is that how she talks?
I was like, darn, I didn't
She moved
see
her
her
bottom like that when
face.
she talks?
Yeah, who?
Your wife, you're like, and then she said, "You get right down there."
She's fun. She's just dog. She is fierce, buddy. She ain't no joke. She said, the funniest thing ever. She's like the most innocent, just sweetest individual I know. But she looked at my security guy when it happened, and she said, "PJ," and he said, "Yes, the first lady." They call her the first lady. And she said, "I'm gonna need you to do me a favor." And he said, "What's that?" She said, "I need you to take me to the pit."
Oh boy.
I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think that's a good idea. But she's cute as a button.
Are you out of the doghouse now though? I mean, is that all in the
it took
past?
me a minute to plead my case, and she gets it. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Just-
it's rock and roll. You know what
yeah,
I mean? Like,
but
it's,
at the same time, it's like I didn't intentionally hook a pair of draws.
you got to admit that's a 1 in a million shot.
Boy, that backfired on me one time. I was playing a club, and a pair of drawers come up on stage and hung on my guitar,
Oh boy.
and they wasn't little. And I made sure I pointed that out.
It's like a parachute.
Well,
throw
because
'em
the
back?
week before, what happened was a bunch of my buddies went to Walmart, and we were playing the Georgia Theater, and they bought like a bunch of like lunchroom lady bras and stuff. Got like 50 cast iron hooks in the back of them, you know what I mean? And they threw a bunch of them on stage. So I thought somebody was playing a joke again. And I was like, "God dog, that's the big girl right there." And all of a sudden, down to my right, this dude was standing next to his girlfriend, and she looked like a ghost. And he just looked at me like he was mad at me. And then they turned around and walked out. And I was like, "Oh." Well, that's your fault. You ought to kept them some bitches on. You know what I
Some
mean?
britches.
Yeah.
Some britches, right?
That's right.